Welcome to the Cash Flow Project Podcast. Are you looking to better your financial situation by increasing your cash flow? Too busy to hunt for real estate deals or don't know where to start? Then you're in the right spot. Join us as we dive in and talk about investing for cash flow using multifamily real estate.
Welcome to the Cash Flow Project. I'm your host, Duc with Tri-City Equity Group. Today we have Vinney Chopra on the show. Vinney is a sought-after multifamily syndication expert with 35 years of expertise. Over the past 12 years, he has honed his skills and has done 29 successful syndications, 14 of those being in the past 3 years. He has achieved enormous success controlling over $350 million, 4,200 doors in this niche market. He and his 67 professional full-time team members manage all assets from acquisition till disposal. Vinney is the CEO of Monil Investment Group that oversees his syndications, Monil Management Group that oversees his properties, and he has proven his ideas and techniques for multifamily and senior living syndications that has helped him grow his business exponentially over the years. With me is my co-host, Vince Gibbings.
Hey, Duke. I am super excited about this show. I saw Vinney first time in an Orlando event last year in 2019. He was only on stage for a little bit of time. I took 3 or 4 pages of notes, so everything he says is noteworthy. So you're gonna want to definitely listen up for this episode and take a lot of notes. Big things on emerging markets. We talk about on what he sees with the COVID-19. Also, a lot of tricks on what he does for his properties, things that he does. He's in the A class or B plus class asset. So he gives a lot of the value add that he does on those properties. Really excited for the show. Vinney's story is super inspirational, and he's always so positive. It's infectious. So just listen for it. Just to get a boost in your mood and your attitude, because he's definitely a great person.
Welcome to another episode of the Cash Flow Project. Today we have a special guest, Vinney Chopra. Since coming to the U.S. more than 40 years ago with $7 in his pocket, Vinney has achieved success in a number of arenas: marketing, sales, motivational speaking, and real estate investing, among them. With his passion to help people and his drive to build lasting legacies, Vinney is an example of what positive thinking can do to impact one's life and that of others. Vinney's nickname is Mr. Smiles because he has always believed in the individual's ability to shape the world around them through positive thought and selfless action. Vinney, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Duc. I appreciate that, Vincent, both of you. Thank you so much. Yeah, it's a pleasure.
All right, so we know you have a ton of experience in the syndication space. Take us back to 2007 when you first got started. What was that like, and how does that compare to the current market conditions?
Totally. Actually, it was the crash, as everybody knows. The housing bubble burst there in 2007 and 8, and stock market tumbled down. I remember 851 points. I had raised maybe 1.5 million. It got dry to only half that much on Monday morning. All those, tribulations. But it goes back to 2004, actually, when I became broker. I've been a motivational speaker all my life. I'm an engineer, mechanical engineer, and of course came from India and sold Bible books and all, and got into sales, a lot of sales, marketing, and things like that. But we didn't know anything about recession, to be truthful. We were just getting started and learned some good tricks from the mentor, coach back then. But nobody will give us loan. That was the biggest thing I remember. And, we had some great assets in Dallas and other places in Texas. I live near San Francisco, but couldn't buy anything here, even in the recession. It was pretty bad. But we found that, to make cash flow work, we got to move outside California. And we did the Google and I think some data search and found out where the unemployment was the least in small towns. And we found Odessa, Midland, came up on the top. We did more research. So that's how we ended up going to Texas. And we never left. I bought 24 deals in Texas, not one, but starting from that 14 units, 180,000 to several millions worth, right? Yeah.
So for that deal, how did you find it and structure it, and who were your investors?
Good point. Now, the very first one, 14 unit, we didn't have to syndicate. It was, just working with the seller, and we got a local business loan, bank loan. They were able to give it on my credit and everything. And 180,000, we only put 50 down, and they were able to give us good 6-7% interest, something like that. But the 109 unit one, which I closed on Monday. Luckily, it took me 11 months to get these two deals, by the way. 11 months of hard work with the team, talking to brokers, talking to lenders, underwriting, everything. So it doesn't come overnight. Success never comes overnight at all. So it just happened to be 14 units at 180,000 on Monday. And Friday, lo and behold, we closed on 109 units and 101 storage units in the same location in Odessa. Both were in Odessa, by the way. Odessa, Midland was at the peak at that time. You said, how did I raise the money? From zero investor again, they said, oh, how many deals have you bought? Zero. Are you going to move to Texas? No. He says, do you have the deal under contract? No. I mean, everything was no, no, no. And I said to my few early investors that, I've been buying single family home. Maybe you have also bought some. And are you happy with the toilet, trash, and tenants? All those 3 T's and all that. So that hit chord with them. I said, the reason I'm going into multifamily is because of economies of scale, one transaction, making sure, everything is easily, manageable, things like that. And they bought it. My early investors, they bought it. They said, I think I like you. You are genuine. Vinney, I'm going to write you a $50,000 check. So that's how it started for me. And then I got another 65,000, then another 100. Then I made a decision. I said, you know what? I've never gotten anybody to put 25,000. I don't believe in that. I just go for 50 or 100, and now I get even 500. Wow. A lot of my investors are putting with me, Yeah.
So how do you think multifamily will fare in the short term and long term, given the current conditions?
Good point. Good point. Yeah, with the COVID-19 that's happening right now, I just had a call with a very big lender, actually, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac lender from Berkeley Point, which is Newmark now. And vice president called me, and we chatted and things like that, that there is not too many fire sales are going to happen. Maybe 3 to 5%. He was talking about 3 to 5% what he's seen, and he gives a lot of loans, billions of dollars of loans. So again, story's not told that much yet. I know in our case, my Florida properties, we are collecting 98% of the rent, 98, 94, 91, 88%. So it's not been as big a dip than everybody expects. So that's a kind of good thing. And I think there will be some possibilities that will be coming, opportunities. It's been a seller's market, as you all know, for the last 5-6 years. People are jumping on one top of another and overpaying and everything. I mean, I couldn't buy anything, zero. I did so many best in finals and everything, but somebody came from the back and put another $1.5 million on top of that 19 million or 18 million I was giving, and 50, even 35 million one. That, and somebody with 37 million. So this is ridiculous. But last year we were able to buy 2 with my partner, and we did well. So answering your question, I think it's still too early, to say. If some opportunities will come 6 to 9 months later. If some people are in deep trouble, they will try to hang on with some capital calls and things like that. But some, will kind of, pass through this small blip, what they are finding. Stock market is talking the same way. I mean, look at that, 911 points yesterday went up. And, that means that some medicine is coming, that's going to open up again. And a lot of states are already opening up. This is my new book, by the way, coming up.
New one.
Positivity Brings Profitability. Yeah.
Is that out yet?
No, it's coming out actually next month. Positivity Brings Profitability. But this book, you probably already have seen it. Your audience might have seen it, which became international top seller, and it just came out in Spanish just last week.
Right.
Oh, there we go. Thank you, Vincent. Yeah. So a lot of people are liking that. Thank you. It took me 2 years to write it, but a lot of people are enjoying it.
So have you had to make general strategy?
Good point. Very good point. See, what is happening, I'm glad you said that, Duc. What it is that, we are not selling. Oh, no. We are selling some that I bought 5 years back, 6 years back, right? We usually sell those, lucked out so well. In Atlanta, I bought for $12 million to 4, close to 200 units. And I got an offer for $19 million, 8, just before Corona hit, so I'm very excited. We bought $52 million. We bought with a partner in Florida last year in June. We are doing very, very well. And then we bought $35 million one in December. And I'm very excited about something else. I don't know if you guys know or not, but there is a silver tsunami going through USA and around the world where 10 baby boomers are turning 65 every midnight. So I've opened a new division of my company, Monil Senior Living. That's my new division, and we are doing assisted ground-up construction. And my partner has done 23 of them successfully, and we are going to be building 4 to 6 every year for the next 10 years. So that's my new.
Wow.
Very excited about senior living multifamily. It's a multifamily at its core, not residential assisted living. It's the multifamily. Yeah. I mean, the podcast just came out this morning. I was listening to myself. I recorded it a few, weeks, months back, and it's 5 mistakes that Vinney made. So I would highly recommend your audience to check that out. It just came out from my Syndication Made Easy. It's the same podcast, Apartment Syndication Made Easy, sequel to the book that I give out every week, all the tricks of the trade and everything, But you're right. The very best thing I talk in that one is forming a team. It's so important. I had a wrong partner with me for many, many years. And that something was the biggest mistake because it took me so long to buy so little. In the early career of mine, I just sold the last 14th property last year. And, but if you don't have the right partner, that can kill you, totally kill you. You need somebody who really hardworking, driving, trustworthy, everything like that, right? The other thing is to not localize yourself. That's my second mistake. I stayed in Texas too long. And I talk about it in my podcast. We should be putting 3 different prongs, 3 different emerging markets. States, actually, that's the best way, not 3 different cities within the state. So that's another one. I lost a lot of opportunities. Third one I talk about is due diligence, mistakes in due diligence, physical due diligence, where in the early years of mine, running the cameras through the sewer lines. And I bought a building in San Antonio, the foundation, not really crumbled or anything, but the sewer lines fell. There is mushy, then it's to go underneath the building, underneath the foundation to fix those. That's a very heavy. Another mistake I made was chiller systems. In residences, I bought chiller system and I said, oh my gosh, never again. Pipes bursting and, leaks, and the boilers are huge boilers and you have to buy those. What was the other one? Again, doing the best. I think what I've done very well is to just work with my investors and have the transparency. So that's the good part also, where I just tell my investors, and I meet with them every quarter on the quarter personally, like this Zoom, and record the meetings live. I've been doing it for 12 years now. And the good part is then they are feeling comfortable and I bring the property to them. See, in last 12 years, not maybe 5 or 6 of my 172 investors have traveled to the properties, right? No, nobody really takes time to do that. But I bring the properties to them in PowerPoint presentations, in the authenticated reports and things like that. A lot of people send a little, executive summary. So that's a mistake. You just send a paper, shove a paper in front of investors. It's better to be doing one-on-one and then talking to them. And the best thing is, which is I sell my next property at the end of every quarterly meeting. Why not? So that way it's a podium where you could really market yourself to your already existing investors. And that has been my secret. So I know you asked for mistakes. I gave you some good things.
Oh, absolutely. Great. I'm taking notes here for myself.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Vincent. Yeah.
All right. Am I up, Duke?
Yep.
All right. So I'm going to switch gears to talk more about your book here. So I read this. I got a bunch of notes I've taken out of this. So I'm going to dive into some follow-up questions out of your book here, The Apartment Syndication Made Easy.
Sure.
All right. So the first one, we talk a lot about this, the coronavirus pandemic disrupted the forces that drive emerging markets. Have you seen any of the emerging markets that you're in? You said you're looking at like 3 different markets right now. Have you seen, or are you the fundamentals have changed?
Okay, you know what? Not too many fundamentals will be changed because I have always gone after jobs, and jobs. That has been my number one mantra for the last 14 years. And, there is a great book out, by the way, I would love to share with you and your audience. It's The Big Shifts Ahead by Chris Porter. And I bought it also. I have an audio also. And it's a great book. It came out a few years back, but it talks about demographical shifts. And that's what is happening with millennials and the generations XYZ and the seniors and everybody, how people will be moving towards Florida, towards Arizona, as all these, things settle down. Texas is still going to be very big. And then Carolinas, the whole area there. I mean, they are talking about Atlanta, Carolinas, Florida, all the way in that whole corridor. So that has not changed for me, and it should not change. I am adding, Austin to the, I bought in San Antonio, I bought in San Marcos, I bought in Seguin, but I never bought in Austin. I feel very, very good about Austin with the Terra factory with Tesla coming there, not Giga, but Terra they're talking about now. So, and what we are finding is with the demographical shifts, people will be working more from their own locations, from home also. Yep. And a lot of these office spaces will be cut down and things like that. So I'm pretty bullish on those markets. We bought in Melbourne, which is tech space and all that. We are very, very happy about that. We are buying more over there. I'm building a senior assisted living right there in Palm Bay. We just bought the land. Sebastian, we bought the land. Then Punta Gorda, we bought the land. So my assisted senior living ground up, we are building in Cape Coral, 88 units, and we built it for $12.3 million. We got an offer for $19.4 million.
Wow.
We are not even open yet. We are not even open.
That's awesome.
So that's a big recipe, which that's why I'm saying that I'm building 6 to 10 in next 10 years, Yeah.
Wow, that's incredible. Yeah, so big shifts ahead. It's the same book you mentioned back last year at the conference as well. So definitely,
yes,
definitely great book.
Yes.
So how much of a history do you need to see in a market's demographic before you mark it as, okay, this is an emerging market? Like you said, jobs is one of the metrics. Like what other metrics are you looking for? And how long is it? 1 year, 2 year, 3 years of that positive growth before you say that's an emerging market? That's somewhere we need to be looking at.
I'm glad you said it. I would say that when I bought in 2017 Atlanta, I should have been there a little earlier. I should have been there like in 2013, 14. I got there in 16, and I did buy some good products. I bought for 10 million, 100. I sold it for 50 million last year. That's 5 million increase. Then I bought another one. I think I just mentioned today, 12.224. Got an offer for 19.8. So you're right. I think the big thing is you have to see a couple of years what's happening, but I'm more important what's going to happen in the next 5 to 7 years. That's what is more important to me, because I want to get to the places where a lot more people are not thinking about coming yet. So I bought in the part of Atlanta. A lot of people told me, Vinny, don't buy. I knew the movie studios are coming there. I knew the warehouses are coming there. I knew shopping center was going to be. So I do a lot of very thorough research. When I went to Atlanta, I had my iPad Dropbox with almost 71 different articles. And I was sharing some articles with the brokers in Atlanta. They said, Vinny, you've done so much research. I can't believe you. And I was sending them my stuff to the brokers in Atlanta about Atlanta,
Yeah.
So that was very exciting for me. Yeah.
Being prepared,
and,
right?
Again, when we go to a market, Vincent, I take my time. I take 6 to 9 months to really look at all the data points, look at where people are going, where it's shifting, where the movers, there are a lot of reports, right? So you want to be doubly, triply, quadruply true to your numbers and to your analysis, because once the investors are following you, they're looking for you to really lead them to a place where they will not lose money. I mean, that's the big thing. And that has been the biggest strength of my syndications. I mean, from 180,000, small house, 14 units I bought, to buying 50 to 7 to 10 million in a couple of days now from my investors, Yeah.
That's rule number 1, right? Preservation of capital.
Yes.
Don't lose your investors' money. Don't.
Yeah, totally. They will not talk to you. They will tell 14 more people about you, the negative stuff. I talk to 3 or 4 or 5 people, but the negative things go through chills. The biggest thing is being conservative. I think it's very, very important time for all of us to be conservative. And not only that, people will not be able to do these restrictions now of 12-month reserves and so forth with Fannie, Freddie and other things. So that's going to dampen some of the buying power also. Even though the interest rates are very, very low, sub 3 now. I just got a call from my good friend, vice president of Berkeley Point, which is bought out by Newmark now. And he was sharing with me, how they can still get us the loan. At least when you are getting in the higher level returns, you get better rates, you get everything better, so lenders give you more rebates up on the top when you reach that point. Yeah.
Nice. Speaking of being conservative, so last year at the Multifamily Mastery 3, you're on stage and you're talking about the importance of using a reversion cap rate at exit.
Yes.
Please explain the rationale behind that, because when you try to explain to maybe somebody that's newer, they don't understand why you would want to use a higher cap rate at exit, or at least underwrite that way. When everything else is trending up, like you should use a lower one, but that's not conservative, right? So can you please explain that, please?
No, totally, Vincent. Again, it's the philosophy of being conservative. You do want to put, lower cap rate, and you can just even tweak it by 0.15, 0.25. The numbers look spectacular. I mean, you can see the annual IRR and everything go way up. But I think it's the common theme in the marketplace is to add 0.5, 0.45 to zero point 0.5 into the buying cap rate. That's what we are talking about. So it's better to just add little so that even if the area goes great, right? Which happened in my case in Atlanta. Look at that 7 million increase in value of the property in just 3 years, right? But my projection was not that. My projection was making maybe 6 or 5 million in 5 years, to be truthful. But it's good to have that conservativeness. And I think we need that more now with the what's out there in the marketplace. The other thing we also look is the pressure testing, the mortgage. So that's the other thing I mentioned on the stage. It's good to do your underwriting at 90%, then do it at 80%, then 70%, and look at how low you can go where you won't lose your shirt and break even. So it's better to know that, okay, at 65% still, I can make things happen. And then also we bought the property after that, stage show. I bought it in December with my partners and so multifamily, and we bought it at 30% down. We didn't want to do 20% down. We want to do 25 or 30. I think 30% down we did it. This way we will have lower mortgage. The lower the LTV, the better. The higher the LTV in the uncertain times is the worst thing one can have. Yeah.
Yep. And that's something similar came up in our last deal where one of the lenders wanted to offer us a really good, like a high LTV, like 80%. And we're doing our underwriting, like, no, we'd rather take like the 70. We'd rather have more cash in it. That way the debt service is lower.
Exactly.
Same thing happened to us. And you just have to, like I said, be conservative, make sure your debt services are low. So when, market dips, you don't have a high mortgage payment to cover.
So right about it. And also, I think in these trying times, I think a lot of people will come out of it very knowledgeable, but maybe a lot of syndicators like you and me and others will be having more cash at hand. We are very, very cash good, I should say. We raised like 1.7 million in our December. We put down 30% down. Still, we raised 1.7 on top of it to make numbers still came out good. And this was for renovations of the 150, 60 units. But we haven't spent that money yet. See, you don't spend right away. So we were able to have that cash stack. And even though we collected 98% of the rent, we didn't need any forbearance. We didn't need anything like that. So that was kind of nice. So buying in the emerging markets is a real key. Yeah.
Nice. So what is your favorite trick for increasing the NOI? In terms of either increasing income or decreasing expenses? Do you have something that you do on every property?
Surely. I would love to. My pet peeve. The very first one is curb appeal. You want to do really nice curb appeal. You have an exit, a business plan right away. And then RUB system. Try to look at a utilities bill back system, ratio utilities with the water, trash, gas, pest, electricity, everybody pays their own. But the rest of them already in our game plan for underwriting, we look at what the seller is already using, how much they're collecting, what percentage, and what's out available in that state. So we jump up, with everything that we are new leases, right? Or you have to give certain, I think 60 days to let the residents know that these are the huge bills and we'll be charging portion of it. So that's the RUB system. Of course, we do now with the B class assets or B minus even Valet Trash. And we're finding a lot of millennials are loving Valet Trash, $30, $25. They love not to go a whole month taking their white trash to the dumpsters, which is far away. So they just put it outside their door and boom, magically walks, our maintenance people walk it to the dumpster. So that's a big one. Parking, covered parking or regular parking, that's a huge one, value add for us. The other one is, of course, we build cafes in every community that we buy. cyber cafes and other cafes and exercise rooms and nicer media centers. So we do those things right away to let the residents know we are giving you more and more and more. Then it's easy to increase the rents. So we always have, of course, the market rents already planned out with a lot of studies before even we purchase. And then as the leases come due, we bump up the rents. That's the other big income items. Now, we could say, laundry rooms, most of the people have those card laundry rooms, card ones, not the coin. And other thing, in the $52 million deal, we have a lake. So we were able to actually put a kayak, decking over there, and we leased out to an outside company, so that's a revenue builder for us. Dog park, we already had. Dog wash is another one. A lot of residents love to pay $30. It's less time, and their dog and their pets can get cleaned and so forth like that. I'm thinking about there might be some more. Oh, smart homes. Oh my gosh, I forgot. Smart home features are very well liked. It's so simple just to buy the nests and put them in the units with some plugs, the USB plugs, if they don't have USB plugs. So cheap, one in the kitchen area and one in the master bedroom. They are the easy given, smart home, we call it, and we put some more things with the lights, clapping and this and that. So those things can really add values. And then you can, see that the residents can pay for those amenities. On the expense side, again, we are vertically aligned. So I've been dealing with all these contractors as a CEO of the management company also, and my daughter is involved, my wife is involved. So and my accounting department has been with me for 12 years. My VP of finance, my senior accounts payable, then the payroll manager. At the peak, we had 135 people in my companies.
Wow.
So it's exciting to see that we can cut the expenses by preferred vendors. What preferred vendor mean? These are the HD supply, the maintenance supply, all these. They give you a special catalog where it's a special price for your communities only. So you get all these savings from buying from outside and things like that. The other thing is we have 3 bid system always. Everybody should have 3 bids at least for $2,000 or more expense. My community managers have to get 3 bids, and then we negotiate even the best of the best to even lower by 18 to 25%. So I've saved millions of dollars. I mean, I just put 2-inch asphalt parking lot for my one property in Texas, 192 units. Huge, right? Huge. And the big bid was $450,000, came down to $350, then $250 to $150.
Wow.
$123. I paid $123, guys. $123. And the guy came on Thursday, and we knew him very well. He's done our renovations at other very big place, contractor in Houston. But he was able to do it in 3 days for me. I mean, we wired him 41,000, 41, and it was done from Thursday till Monday, and striping included along with that.
Wow, that's incredible. We need to get you negotiating some contracts.
Oh yeah. See, the thing is, they will do. It's a win-win-win situation. See, some of the vendors charge 50% profits. 50%.
Yep.
That's unheard of. 15%, yeah, I will give it. 50%, no, don't talk to me. So that's the key thing, to have the balls to really say, hey, it doesn't cost that much. Let me do the breakdown. And okay, call me back. It's not in the budget. So there are these language that you have really portrayed, Hey, we'll call you back. If they have no job and they got workers on their payroll, they would rather do the job and get paid, So there are different ways, and nobody will do the job if they're not making money. See, that's the key thing, right?
Yeah, for the you mentioned getting the bids and the quotes. I think that was like one of the easiest things for us to start cutting down on our vendors was having them submit the itemized scope of work. Because
Yep.
they're not just writing down a big number and giving it to you. Like I need you to justify
Yeah.
every single thing you're doing. And when they have to do that and they have to show it to you, it's really hard for them to kind of sneak in those overhead charges, the 50% markups, as you said.
I'm
Because you can look at it and you're like,
so glad you said it. Scope of work is so important that you get apples and apples to compare. Many times, different builders or different vendors come and they have their own scope of work. So I try to get one good one, and then you can snip it, so that you don't show who's giving it and all, so that they can understand, hey, we are talking to some other people, and this is what they are doing. Would you add something to it or subtract something or whatever, right? And then get the right codes. That has been a good recipe, you bet, asking the same scope of, yeah.
absolutely. All right, I think I'm done with my question. So my last plug here. So the Apartment Syndication Made Easy. It's not a huge book, but it's packed with value. Lots of stuff in here. No fluff. Walk through Vinney and his 5 spinning plates of syndication. All the different all the things that syndicators need to balance. It's definitely not easy, but you definitely help break it down and help us walk through the process with us so we can do it too. So thank you for that.
Yeah, I used to love jugglers in India where I grew up, and I was thinking, man, I was getting overwhelmed, as everybody, there's so many things to do as a syndicator, right? So I said, what are the most important plates? And if you think about it, plate number 4, qualification of the loan, that's the biggest elephant. I mean, if we can't qualify, we should not be in this business or get some principal partner and all that. Then the number 1 also is a smaller plate, which is the team's plate, right? Once you get your attorneys, appraiser, all these people and everything, then those are 2 small plates, I call it. 5th one, you don't have to worry until you buy something. So that you get involved, when you are really, after you have done the plate number 2 and 3, which is the investor and the broker, the deals plate, right? So actually just breaking it down and simplifying it, it just makes sense, and I think a lot of people will be getting better sense. And then I do put a lot of my hard-earned, the scripts and other stuff and my properties and the packets and everything so that people can learn. Yeah.
All right.
So you mentioned the super tsunami of baby boomers aging earlier. So other than senior housing development, where do you think the opportunities are in real estate going forward?
I would say I'll be in commercial. I mean, I'll be very first to say that. I just bought also a Hilton Garden Inn in December in Texas for $6 million. It appraised at $8.7 million with my partners. So we made $2.7 million there. I know with the COVID effect, we never really assumed that will happen, but we are still running 23% occupied. So that's pretty good as compared to the market. We're looking into Marriott Courtyards. There'll be some really good hotels coming on the market, big even chains also. So we are ready to buy some, even yet this year with the COVID effect. Things will get better. We are optimistic about it. But you're right. Yeah, I think it's the multifamily, my bread and butter, which I'm ready to buy B plus, and pretty strong ones in the $30 to $70 million range. And then, of course, my senior living ground up. I won't buy. A lot of people been trying to send me senior livings. Vinney, could you buy this? Could you buy that? I can't. I'm going to build it from ground up with my partner because we could bring A-class product with no different maintenance, with nothing, and no concessions, no delinquency. The rents are collected on the first of the month, through the seniors, right? Which is already vetted. They don't leave just like our residents leave in multifamily. Turnover is there. With them, it's not that high. So all the things are very, very exciting and appealing. So that's what, yeah. So 3 branches, multifamily and senior living, and then hospitality.
Got it. So what is your superpower?
Oh, my superpower. I think I can just dig into so much stuff at the same time. my biggest superpower is compartmentalizing, things. I have never ever written double draft of any email. I just write one, I dictate one, and it's gone. I believe in, just putting the ideas together quickly and moving the needle, I call it. I can go from one meeting at 9 o'clock to 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4. Some days I'm working 14, 16 hours. I'm 67, I'll be 68 in August. And I just feel like I've got so much energy that, I just want to move the world in the next 10 years, with as a more happier place and better place, and really passionate about that.
All right. So as we wrap this up, do you have any requests for our audience, and how can people reach out to you?
Anybody, if you would like to find out more about senior living, investing passively, my website is just getting put together with the click funnel and the lead magnet and all that, that's the other business I just started. So I have a Monil branding company in USA where we do all these things at a very low price, click funnels in a box or active campaign and the email campaigns and the lead magnets. If anybody's interested, just email Vinney, Vinney, at vinneychopra.com. That's my website also. Vinney Chopra with a Vinney, Chopra, CHOPRA.com. And you could, we can talk about mentorship also. I have an academy, pretty strong one, where we teach. I teach personally. I have no coaches or nothing. I just love to, teach and give my nuggets. And a lot of people are loving it. And I coach 2 hours every week on Wednesdays, and we record the sessions. I have 770 lectures that I have recorded, and I teach all the tricks and give everybody on silver platter all my worksheets and PDFs and everything I've designed. So it's kind of fun. Yeah.
Well, great. Thanks so much for coming on the show. You've been so generous with your time.
No, thank you. Thank you so much having me. And, I hope people got something out of this. And if anybody wants to know more about it, audio version is really amazing. I didn't speak myself in the book. That was good. I got a really good orator from Hollywood. So he did a very fine job. So that's a good one to really listen and listen and listen. You will understand the concept much easier and better. And be, that way. Sure.
All right.
Well, thanks again.
Wow, Duc, that was an awesome show. Super excited to have Vinney on again. My biggest takeaways for this show were reminding me of the book Big Shifts Ahead. I took a note the first time he mentioned it a few months back. Got buried in my Amazon shopping cart. So now I'm going to go today, right after this, and go buy that book, or if it's on Audible, buy the Audible. His book, again, The Apartment Syndication Made Easy, is an awesome book. 200 or so pages, no fluff, value added every page. So if you don't have that, pick that up. And then he also gave us the teaser of his new book that's going to be coming out soon. Pretty excited for that, and I'll get that as well. So some of the big actionable takeaways for this show has definitely been the B plus class. Value add, such as the USB chargers, using the Nest thermostats for the millennials that like to be connected and have those features inside their apartment homes. Also, things like covered parking is big. One of his markets, he's in the Sun Belt, so a lot of Texas, a lot of Florida where it's hot. So covered parking definitely gives a great ROI for the owner and is a great value for the resident. And also things like his cafes, if he has a cyber cafe, or things like that, meeting areas where people can get together, work, and hang out with each other are big for him. And then one of the other things is the trash valet. So trash valet is kind of cool. I've used it myself at a place that I stayed at before I moved to Hawaii. You just take your trash bag, put it outside the door, and somebody comes and takes it. You don't have to go walk it to the trash bin, on the other side of the complex. So it's definitely a service that if you're in the right class asset, like B plus or A, people will pay for. All right. So the other notes I took was the tremendous amount of research that he does going into a market. Months and months and months of research for going into a market. He said he wants to do or see 1 or 2, maybe 3 years of positive trend before he starts getting heavy into that market, that emerging market, if his metrics say so. But what I thought was interesting was a lot of people, when they're looking at real estate, they always look at the past. How the market has performed in the past, maybe 20 years, 10 years, 5 years. He's looking a lot into the future, the next 5 or 7 years, because he's trying to get in the bottom of that cycle, that emerging market cycle, where he's getting into the bottom before everything happens. That has a positive trend of new companies are moving in. They're picking up a lot of jobs, but a lot of the second, third order effects are going to lag by a few years. So he's trying to get in early, buy a bunch of great product, and then as that market picks up on that top of that cycle, then he'll go and exit 3, 5, 7 years later. So that was awesome. I definitely took note of that for our own research. And one of the other ones I took was negotiate with contractors, 3 bids on everything. Go back and talk them down, get apples to apples scopes of work. Don't ever go off of, just a one big number. If you get a job bid and they're like, oh, it's going to cost 20 grand, never take that at face value. Always ask for a scope of work and an itemized list of what I want every single step that makes up 20 grand. Because once they do that, it's going to be hard to justify, like he said, a 50% GC markup or overhead markup, because they're not going to be able to hide it anywhere. They're going to have to itemize every list. And once you have that, then you can go to the other vendors and compare line by line what they're going to do a job for. And it's going to give you the best deal possible. All right. And then also use preferred customer with your vendors, like HD Supplies. And if you're not using HD Supply, maybe even just your Home Depot or Lowe's, get those pro accounts, because you'll get preferred pricing, especially bulk pricing on a lot of your purchases. If you need to go, resurface cabinets or something like that on your property, you can go get bulk pricing on all the cabinet faces or all the hardware with your preferred account. You'll get a much better deal than if you were just to walk in by, from aisle 17 or something like that. So definitely buy in bulk when you can, and get the preferred accounts with a lot of your vendors. Those are my biggest takeaways. And then also, last one, the tsunami of baby boomers. So that is a big one. He mentions that in his book as well. The 10,000 baby boomers a day are turning 65 and getting retirement age. And this is the point in their lives where they're going to be downsizing. All the kids left the nest, so to speak, and they're going to be looking for, easy living from here on out. They don't want to be out there, taking care of yards, taking care of houses, doing maintenance on their own personal residence. They just want to take their nest egg and go, live in Florida, go live in the Sun Belt somewhere, and just live the easy life where they don't have to take care of any of that stuff. So that is definitely a demographic you should have when you're looking into a market, is those baby boomers.
Yeah, super inspirational podcast. One thing that I resonated with too was the idea of the timing of curb appeal and value adds. So he mentioned that he does that right away as soon as they take over the property, and then raise rents. So to me, like what I picked up from that is just kind of a general business philosophy of giving first before taking, because that kind of just essentially obligates the residents to then agree with the rent increases when they can see that you're adding value and you're making their lives better.
Exactly. And we just did a video on that a few weeks ago with Hidar in our group, the multifamily or the Make It Happen mastermind, right? So that video is the same thing. Like you want to, as soon as you acquire an asset, you want to go in and do a lot of that curb appeal, landscaping, signage, any kind of exterior modification or deferred maintenance. Take care of all that stuff, a lot of lighting to make sure the place is nice and bright at night. Those are things you want to take care of right away. One, because it's deferred maintenance. Two, because like you said, that law of reciprocity, you want to show show the tenants that new management's in town and you're going to be taking care of them and you're not going to be doing things the same way that the old tenants or the old managers did. You're going to be better. You're going to be offering more value. And then the second side of that is if you're trying to fill vacancies or do a reposition where you're taking maybe a C and turning it into a B or a C minus and turning maybe to a C plus, you're not going to attract that tenant base or that resident base that you're looking for if the outside of the property still looks the way it did, because they didn't live there before. So what makes you think they're going to live there now just because you put granite countertops in? Because the outside still doesn't have that curb appeal. And that's the first impression people get when they move on to a property. So for us, the exact same business model. As soon as we do, we start renovating the vacant units day one. And then we, very shortly after the first, definitely within the first month, we're doing a complete overhaul of the exterior of our properties.
All right. And then if you are interested in connecting with us, go to tricityequity.com to learn more. To connect with like-minded investors, join our Facebook group, Honolulu Multifamily and More. If you found value in this podcast, please subscribe and give us a rating and review on Apple Podcasts or Stitcher. And if you know anyone who might resonate with today's podcast, please share the episode with them. See you next time.